Alright, so we got Miss Kyla home. I've got my break-in period done with the Wolverine. So, guys, what's with the bubbles on the floor? What's with the bubbles on the floor? Right in my work area. So since I do have my 20 hours up on this guy, we're going to have to make a little room here because my carport is a little bit full. But we're going to pull this guy out. We're going to tackle the oil change today, but we will also go over doing the rear differential, things like adjusting your throttle cable, because I've noticed on mine it's really stretched and will need adjusted. Air filter, easy stuff like that. That if you guys are wanting to save a little bit of money and not have to run to a dealer and get charged $300, $400, or $500 for this simple, easy stuff you can do at home, then we can save you some money. I got, let's see here, in my parts bin, but unfortunately this isn't all for side-by-sides. A lot of this is parts I got to replace in the truck, like my hydro booster, master cylinder. But I got an oil change kit here off of eBay from Tri-County Power Sports. I had ordered one off of Rocky Mountain ATV, but a little warning for you guys that the one on Rocky Mountain ATV, although listed for the Wolverine X4, is actually for the older generation Wolverine. I don't know if the oil filters are different, but it comes with 5W30 because all they have is the cold weather kit. And it also only comes with 3 quarts and you need 4 for the Wolverine X4. So just a heads up there on that. The Rocky Mountain ATV one is not quite suited for the X4. But anyway, I'm going to make some room here in this carport and we're going to get to work servicing our X4. Drop that beat. The X4 here uses a dry sump design for the oil. So the best thing to do in order to change the oil is you actually want to run this a little bit, get it up to operating temperature or at least close to it. It's going to be easier to drain the oil if it's warmed up because, again, this doesn't actually have an oil pan that holds the oil. It has a oil jug, and then the oil circulates through the jug down into the motor, back up into the jug. So we need to have the motor nice and warm so that the jug can be filled and oil is just not setting in the bottom. So you can see I ran this for a little bit. My display gauge is mixed up, but I'm up to about 128 degrees right now. It sat here a few minutes, it's cooled down, but that should be plenty warm enough to get most of the oil drained out of this. So the first step I'm going to do is actually remove this panel here in the rear. It's our 4 cup holders. We need to get that in to actually get to our oil jug to fill the oil once it's drained. And all there is 1, 2, 3, and then 4 other clips on the side, which these you simply just spin this center till it comes loose, and then that pops right out. Spin and pop. Spin and pop. And we're just going to set those there in the middle so I don't forget what I do with them later on. 2 on this side, spin, and pop. So yeah, this is a little bit of work to get in here, but I mean it's not overly complicated or time consuming. And then this just will pop off here. You will have to watch, I know mine, my heat shielding, my heat mat here tends to get caught on this lip, so you don't want to just grab and rip and pull all this off, because this is a big help in keeping that engine cool. We'll just set that back there. And here we are. Here's our top of our head. Our oil jug is right down here. This is also your fill cap and your oil check. So you see we got our dipstick there. Now I need some better light. Now one thing here to watch on your oil jug is your dipstick. There is a little rubber washer that is around it. Right here, and that's what seals it. So be careful when you're removing your dipstick anytime you're checking your oil. You don't want to lose that guy. It just sits in a little groove right here around the top. So make sure you don't lose it. So now I'm going to take you underneath and show you where your drain bolts are. Now since this is a dry sump design for the oil on the X4, there are actually 3 different places where we drain the oil. The first one we're going to drain is the actual oil jug itself. So we're on the driver's side. Here's the front. This is our rear tire, and our oil jug is right in here. And you can see here this little chute that comes off of it with a 10mm bolt. That is our oil drain. And guys, just keep in mind, because we want the engine and the oil to be warm because it'll drain better, just be careful when you're taking out your plugs you don't splash hot oil all over yourself. Doobie-doobie-doo. Now Yamaha will actually tell you to put like a little metal chute or something under there, but this is a hillbilly garage. We get a little oil on our skid plate there. We're not going to worry about it too bad. It'll get washed off in the mud and puddles before long. Let's just take a quick look here at this oil. This is at I'm about 24 hours and around 200 miles. And you can see how good this oil still looks. But even though it looks good, it doesn't hurt to change it, because there will be some break-in wear on the motor. You know, there might be tiny little metal shavings just from things breaking in that you can't necessarily see, but are there and will wear down, you know, components a lot faster. So even though the oil may look good, especially for the break-in period, it's very important that you change it to flush out any small metal particles that may have found their way into the oil. And when you guys are putting all your drain bolts back in, make sure that you did not lose your crush washers. Those need to be in there so you get a proper seal and don't leak oil. With the oil drain, we can stick our bolt back in our oil tank. It gets tightened down to roughly 6.5 foot-pounds of torque. So with the oil jug drained, it is now time to go prone and crawl into your machine, because there's 2 drain plugs under there we got to get. So here's the front of the machine. Here's the back. Here's our fuel fill. And here is our rear passenger door. Now if you take where your hinges on your rear passenger door come underneath the machine, and we're going to follow that straight. You see there's one large circle here and then one oblong circle here. Let's see if I can get you in there a little better. And you will see here in the oblong circle we have a bolt here as well as a bolt right there. These 2 bolts are what you got to remove to finish draining your oil. Alright, I'm going to glove up, because you know, without a doubt, there is no way to remove oil drain bolts in the bottom of an engine without getting the oil all over yourself. And these bolts are 12mm. Probably do one, let it drain, and then do the other one, so we're not getting oil all over ourselves with the one while trying to get the other one out. And that oil still looks good. It's a good sign. It means they didn't get a faulty motor. But coming from Yamaha, I wouldn't expect that anyway. I think I can get in there and get this without making a mess. I think. Just gotta crack it loose and I can do the rest by hand. Oh yeah. Yeah, a little bit on me. Oh, this is tricky. Trick will be not losing this on my skid plate to where I gotta fish it. Ha ha ha! Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And then we're going to reinstall our bottom drain bolts. Again, making sure that your crush washers are still in place. Now, it's up to you, and I'll leave that at your own discretion, whether or not you want to replace your crush washers at every oil change. I usually don't replace them every oil change. I'll go every couple oil changes and I'll replace my crush washers. And I've never had a problem with that and with any machine I've owned. I mean, crush washers are cheap, so that's entirely up to you if you want to replace them at every oil change. And I can't see what I'm doing. And these bottom drain bolts get torqued down to 15 foot-pounds. All we got left now is the oil filter. Now getting to the oil filter is a little more involved because it is tucked way back here in the back. This is the passenger side rear tire of our machine. And the oil filter is kind of back right in behind here. So the easiest way to get to it, if you can't get finagled in there with a wrench or anything, is to take out these 4 bolts here, 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 and then this one push clip here, which just takes a Phillips, which just takes a flathead screwdriver. Do like the ones up top. This would just turn and come out, and this small section of panel right here should come out and get you right in there to your oil filter. Alright, so we got all our bolts out of that. All you can see is there's just these 4 10mm bolts here. And with these clips here, you just take a flat edge screwdriver, you twist this out, and then this whole thing will pop out. And once all those are loose, then this panel here will just wiggle out of place. Set that aside. And then right there's our oil filter. Should be able to get in here now with a wrench or by hand, give this a turn. The oil filter should never be more than hand tight, so you should just be able to get in there and turn that right off. Alright, again, I got my kit from Tri-County Performance off of eBay. I think this was, if I remember correctly, around $47. It comes with the oil you need, as well as your filter. Here is our oil filter, genuine Yamaha parts and accessories. Where's the number? 5GH 1344060. And of course we have 4 quarts of genuine Yamaha 10W40. Alright, so we got our filter here that came in the kit I bought off of eBay from Tri-County Power Sports, I think was the name of it. And we're going to catch one of our little clean drippers here. You always want to make sure to remember to put a little oil around the O-ring. Now it looks like here on this one actually that it comes pre-greased. Looks like there's a little bit of grease around there. But the reason why you want to put a little oil, or if it's not greased, put a little oil around there, is because as you tighten this and this O-ring begins to hit on the plate in the back this goes up against, if it's dry, the friction is going to cause your O-ring, your rubber O-ring here to kink, which could cause a leak. So adding a little bit of oil or a little bit of grease like this one was will ensure that that'll slip enough as you tighten it, it doesn't kink, and it gets you a good seal. Now I'm just going to take the new filter, put her on by hand. And we're done. We'll put our, what is it? Where's my panel? Well, once I find my panel, I'm going to put it back on, and we'll get to filling. Alright, now, to fill the oil, we're going to put all our oil here into our oil tank. Now, you may be tempted because you see there's a nice little oil cap here in the top of our head. We want to stay away from that. We don't actually put the oil in here, put any amount of oil in here. Oh, excuse me. What we're going to do is we'll fill our oil tank here with roughly 2.5 quarts of oil. We'll put the cap on, start the motor. We'll let it run for a couple minutes, shut it off, and then check our level and add the addition, and then add more to the oil tank, and we'll keep doing that until we get our oil levels where we need them to be. Yamaha actually has a program online where if you use the genuine Yamaha lube, they kind of actually give you somewhat of a little additional warranty. I don't know the particulars offhand, but I will link to the website below where all you got to do is register. Keep track of when you change your oil, your like your mileage and hours. Keep your receipts to prove that you actually bought the Yamaha lube and filled it with Yamaha and filled the machine with the name brand Yamaha lube. And then this will actually cover certain things, like if something were to happen to your engine that was part of, like the oil system wasn't doing its job, and you were using the genuine Yamaha lube, then Yamaha will actually cover that under warranty. They call it like the Yamaha Lube Advantage or something like that, but again, I will link to that in my description below so you guys can go over there and sign up for that if you haven't already. Quart number 2. Yeah, we're going to throw about another half quart in there and then we'll start her up. Let that work its way through the system. And then we'll top her off. Screw her cap on and start it for a minute or two. Let's check our level. And we aren't even on our dipstick yet. So most of that we put in there got sucked in to the motor where it was supposed to go. So we need to add a bit. We better stop adding oil and check this here. Hopefully I don't have too much in now. Oh, come on. Nope, I think we are good. Alright, so now we'll just throw our center panel back on here and get this first part of our break-in service all buttoned up. So I'm going to stop this video right here and break this into separate videos covering separate things. That way it just makes it easier in the future to find the specific stuff you want to find instead of having to watch one long video and skip through it to find other aspects of this service. So in the next video we will be covering the differential change. We'll do the front and rear differentials and swapping the oil in that. So I hope you guys found this video a help to you if you were wondering what all was involved with changing the oil in a Wolverine X4. Again, nothing that big, nothing that complicated. The hardest part was having to remove the one panel to get to your oil filter, which that still only took a couple minutes to do. Make sure you comment below whether you like to do the service yourself or you prefer to take it to a dealer. And it never hurts as well to comment below if this video was a help to you, because that's an encouragement to me and helps push me to keep bringing you guys good quality how-to videos like this. And until next time, keep on riding. Appalachian Mountain Riders is brought to you in part by the following. The Honda Side-by-Side Club, because who knows the machines better than the owners that use them every day. Walker Evans Racing. When the path requires more than just ordinary, head on over to walkerevansracing.com. Torque Locker from Torque Masters Industries. When you want to explore the unexplored, head on over to torquemasters.com. And by my gracious supporters on Patreon.